February is Black History Month, and Tucson is home to the only Black History Museum in southern Arizona.
It's located on the U of A campus. The African American Museum of Southern Arizona opened up in 2023 to celebrate and recognize the achievements and contributions of Black people throughout history right here in our area. This
Black History Month, 13 News reporter Ashley Bowerman sat down with the museum's executive director and has more on its origin story and the impact it's had in our community.
There's somewhat of a stigma here in southern Arizona that there's not a lot of Black history. But if you ask Beverly Elliott, the executive director of the African American Museum of Southern Arizona, she'll tell you there is a lot of history. And they're on a mission to not only uncover it, but make sure it's not forgotten.
Even our own people, African Americans, we aren't sure how much is out there. But we're finding out that there's more and more.
The 1,100 square foot museum has become a growing archive of stories, images, and artifacts that tell the story of the Black community in and around Tucson. Exhibits include everything from the Buffalo Soldiers to the historic Dunbar community, home to Tucson's first segregated school, to icons like Wildcats basketball coach Fred Snowden, who was the first African-American head coach at a major university. And every day, they are discovering more.
We have some information on Hattie McDaniel, who was married here and lived in Tucson. Now, Hattie McDaniel was the first African-American woman to receive an Oscar award as with Gone with the Wind. She was Mammy in Gone with the Wind.
What started out as 9 exhibits has grown to 17, and there's more on the way.
We have put in for and applied for a little more space here on campus, so we'll keep our fingers crossed because we have enough to probably fill a whole nother room.
She knows more stories are out there waiting to be heard and preserved.
Probably every day someone emails me or gives me a call and says, hey, do you know this person over here? They're 90-some years old. They've been here for 75 years. They probably have a pretty good story. So sometimes it's just an oral history. Sometimes it's, my grandma passed away, but, she came here with the Buffalo Soldiers, and maybe that story needs to be told, and that's a legacy story.
They've had over 7,000 people visit since they opened just over 2 years ago. Beverly says they've had people come in from all over the world. The popularity of the museum has even grabbed the attention of some national icons who have come to Tucson to share their stories, like Carlotta Walls-Lanier, the youngest of the 9 courageous Black students known as the Little Rock Nine, who integrated Little Rock Central High School in 1957. Basketball legend Julius Erving, and Ruby Bridges, the first African-American child to integrate an all-white elementary school in the South in 1960.
We try to bring in those icons that are going to relate to young people. We want to be intergenerational. So the people my age probably grew up with Ruby Bridges, whereas my grandchildren are learning about her in school.
Beverly says they are more than just a museum, as they also work to educate the public about social injustices, much like the work of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
His whole platform was about equality, whether it was education, whether it was health care, whether it was employment. So all of those things are still around for African Americans, and that's why we say we're not just a museum, we're a movement.
Ashley Bowerman, 13 News.
There is a featured exhibit at the museum right now that includes information on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s few known visits to Tucson. Ashley spoke with a local woman who met him at just 8 years old. We will have her story later this week.